In this video, we're going to go over the best keto recipes that we've ever tried for weight loss. And during this time of year, so many people are trying to get back on the bandwagon. They're getting strict again. And we do that too. Sarah and I have lost 160 pounds following a ketogenic lifestyle since 2019. And I think like everybody else, we go off the deep end sometimes. We don't really pay attention to what we're eating. There was a whole year there where we were going through a lot and we just weren't paying attention. We were eating keto, that's the thing, but you can still gain weight if you're not careful enough. And Sarah and I, we're technically keto. We're relaxed for the most part, but you do kind of have to be mindful of keeping a balance when you're on this lifestyle. So if you're eating full fat everything all day, you're eating keto snacks, you're eating whatever it is, and it's full of fat and calories, then you can gain weight unknowingly. And sometimes it takes a while for us to notice because Sarah and I are pretty tall. I'm 5'11", Sarah's 5'10", and so I don't even think I really noticed anything until I was like maybe 15 or so pounds up. And so if we want to jumpstart weight loss, there is kind of a method or an ideology that we follow that we've kind of made up. And so we thought we would share that to you today and share what we eat when we're getting serious about weight loss. And it's kind of like a two-step kind of process.
And we're not medical professionals.
No.
This is just based on our experience for following keto or low carb for the last 2+ decades.
Well, yeah. Sarah and I have been doing keto since high school, and it was called Atkins. So we have found a balance that works for us, but even people who have done it for 20 years on and off, you sometimes have to get really serious in order to keep the weight off. And that might just be like phases that you go through where you're more serious, others where you're more relaxed. And so we just like freedom. Well, and also freedom. Freedom to gain a couple pounds here and there and then lose it. That's how it is for most people. You're just not going to, lose 100 pounds and stay exactly that weight without some really serious monitoring. And you never know what life's going to throw at you. So
it's good to have some guardrails on where you think, okay, I've gained a couple pounds, time to go back on and right the ship, if you will. Because I think that maintenance is not something that a lot of people talk about, but it's like the longest part of the journey, which is never ending.
You're going to be in maintenance mode far longer than you will ever be like seriously losing weight.
Right.
Okay?
And especially if you're closer to your goal weight, it gets
much
way
harder
to actually lose those pounds because you're smaller, you need less, and you need less to maintain yourself as well.
Okay, so here's the strategy that we use if we're going to get not even back on track because we're always eating keto, but if we want to lose weight, we will start by eliminating or pausing on any kind of keto-friendly product, right? We can eat those occasionally. We like to call ourselves technically keto normally. Like we will eat kind of cleaner food 70% of the time, and then we'll add in all kinds of keto sweets like 30% of the time. Like a couple times a week, we will have a keto-friendly bread product, keto ice cream, stuff like that, right? But if we're trying to be serious about losing weight, we start by eliminating those for a couple weeks, right? So the first 2 weeks of our made-up plan that we just do inherently,
reset, if you will.
It's a keto reset. There you go. Is to just go back to the basics, which are meat and veggies and butter or oil or fat, whatever kind of like cooking oil that you want to use, right?
Very simple eating.
Right. So that could be a steak with green beans. That could be a steak with cream spinach.
A steak with a salad.
Right. That could be eggs and bacon.
It could be chicken with some sort of vegetable, like cauliflower rice, broccoli, green beans. I also like salmon. Emily doesn't want to eat salmon.
Things like that. Like very simple.
It's not exciting.
Right.
That's part of the process.
Right. And in the first week or so, you're going to be, eating a lot of fat to your heart's desire, really, because you're just going back to the basics, right? So I will eat less overall, even though I feel like I can eat more. When you eat things like fat and you eat things like protein, vegetables, your body's going to know what that is. So the first step is to just eat until you're full of those things and continue on for a couple of weeks like that.
And it's okay if you don't have an appetite. That's the whole point.
Right. And if you're not hungry, don't eat.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
As long as you're like, keeping up with your electrolytes and all that kind of stuff, if you feel good, then keep going, right? You're probably going to lose a lot of interest in food after a couple of days because you're not having the treats anymore. You're not like having
food's not interesting or exciting.
Exactly. Some people can do this, right? They're not the people we're talking about. There are some people that are like, I've been carnivore for 5 years now. I mean, that's amazing, but I would just not want to eat after a certain point, right? This is for people who have kind of gone off the deep end and want to get back back on track, right? If you're already carnivore and you're fine with that, then obviously this is not for you.
Yeah.
So that's the first couple weeks.
As long as you can.
And
really.
you know, sometimes we'll be like, oh, these are the best recipes that we've ever tried on our channel. But it's kind of difficult to show you them because we don't really show them on our channel because
they're not interested
right.
in them.
They're not interesting enough to make videos about. But like if I told you that we're going to make a nice steak salad, no one's going to click on it. I know some people are going to be like, I'm going to click on it. No, you're not. We want to try stuff on our channel that's kind of like weird. Like, is it going to turn out well? Like, we have no idea. Or strange. Or something that makes it entertaining to watch.
Curiosity.
Right. And steak and green beans does not pique anybody's curiosity, okay? After a couple of weeks, you will have lost weight.
Take some measurements, you know, measure yourself, but also weigh yourself so that you can feel some progress with that.
Weighing yourself is
fun.
You know, I mean, it's one of those, it's not fun at all. In fact, it's like, for a long time, I never weighed myself, probably because I knew that I was probably slowly gaining weight, especially in 2023. I never weighed myself until the end, and I went, yeah. Okay. But that gives you, like, that moment where you're like, okay, I have to stop doing what I'm doing.
I always think, though, Emily would not weigh herself. I think that when you're going to embark on this type of reset, knowing where you're starting, and then you'll be able to see where you're going faster. Right. If you don't weigh yourself and then you're 2 weeks in, you have no idea what you lost. So you're going to step on the scale and probably be disappointed if you didn't do it to begin with. So take pictures, take measurements, and weigh yourself.
So after the first 2 weeks of your keto reset, where you're just eating meat and veg, your weight loss might slow down and you might want to change it up again. So what we will do now is we will start to switch from high fat, clean foods to lower calorie keto foods. Okay? Because almost every kind of product with keto, it says this is not a low calorie food. It's like you don't need all that fat all the time, right? So after the first 2 weeks, here are some recipes that you could incorporate in order to lower the calories and the fat in your food. And then you could have a couple of normal meals where you are eating like higher fat or stuff like that. So cloud bread French toast. This is using a newer cloud bread that had cottage cheese in it, and we made a bunch of holes in it, and then we made it into French toast, although it didn't really soak up all that well, but it still gave you the feeling of French toast. It gave you the feeling of French toast.
Or the vibes of French toast.
And it works, okay? Maybe make it more holy. Maybe poke more holes in it if you want to. I only poked a couple. You want the eggs to kind of absorb inside the cloud bread, and it didn't do it well, but it kind of coated the outside. And so, like Sarah said, it gave you the vibes without the calories.
Yeah, and put that, you know, Choc Zero maple syrup on it. It does. You're getting those vibes.
Right.
For sure.
The next one was a really high volume recipe that we tried. It was really, really good. And that was the shirataki noodle shrimp
stir fry.
Right. And I think the whole thing was 300 calories. And it was really, really good. Super filling. You probably should not eat all of that, though. Like, that's a lot. Yeah. Eat like half of it would be like 150 calories.
It lasts us many days.
Right. It was a lot for the amount of calories. We just wanted to show like more, like you could eat this much and barely have any caloric impact. And so shrimp is one of those things where it is very, very low calorie.
Yeah. I love shrimp cocktail.
Yeah, I like shrimp cocktail too. Eat the entire shrimp cocktail if you want. It's barely any calories with like some lime and yum.
I made my own shrimp cocktail sauce also. It's like sugar-free ketchup and horseradish. Horseradish.
So another recipe that you could try was like this giant pizza that we made. I think that one was also 300 calories, but it was like the pizza crust was made out of
egg whites.
Right. We're trying to cut down the amount of calories and fat you're eating, right? And so you're definitely going to lose weight because this giant pizza, it kind of collapsed in on itself. And then you put the toppings on it and it became a pizza. Kind of. It gives
like
a vibe.
Pizza. It does. Yeah.
It's the vibes of a pizza.
Yeah. Don't analyze it too much.
Right.
I think like if you're really like, if you had a pizza last week, which you shouldn't have if you're following this plan, and you ate that, you might be disappointed.
Right.
But right now you haven't had pizza in many days, many weeks, right? If you're following this plan.
Right.
So this pizza is going to be
It's going to taste great. Exactly. Another one that I really liked.
What does that say?
Low calorie, low carb desserts.
Oh, what is that word?
Low calorie pizza.
Oh, okay.
She can't read my handwriting. You should see hers. So the last thing we'll say is that low-calorie desserts can be something that you could utilize to make yourselves lose weight. And some of the ones that we were talking about in the past videos that we've tried that we really liked were like coffee jello.
Yum.
Very, very delicious. You could use decaf if you don't want any caffeine. And also the espresso whip, which was espresso, sweetener, and ice. Broken down in your food processor, it kind of creates a creamy, frothy, almost like ice cream, but it does not have any dairy in it, which is really, really good. You could also use decaf for that. And we've made some low-calorie desserts too. Like we made like a little, it almost looks like an angel food cake, and you top it with whipped cream and fresh berries. That one was a really good one. These are all like low-impact, low-fat, low-calorie desserts. So if you incorporate some of these things into your lifestyle on the next 2 weeks and really cut back on the amount of calories, you're going to lose weight. And you're going to be able to eat things that make you feel full, but you're still going to be able to lose weight. Some people may not agree with the way that we do this, right? Sarah and I don't count anything. We don't really pay attention to calories. But what we do know is if I have had a really, not rough weekend, but like a very indulgent weekend, I know that I have to change it up for the next couple days. You cannot eat high calorie, high fat, high whatever all the time. You just can't do it. And we don't test our blood for our blood sugar. We don't test for ketones. We don't track anything that we eat. We just have learned there has to be a balance. And some people just asked us recently, like, how do you keep it off? Honestly, we have gained some weight when times have gotten tough for us, but it's like, what are you going to do next? It's not
but that's normal, I think. People, just like a bear, imagine, will gain weight, right? And then go into hibernation. Right. It's normal for animals to do that, but we have to take a moment and come back to a reset or something like that so that we can lose the weight. And for us, it's if you've been on keto for a week and this is your first time and you need to lose like 100 pounds, you might have an easier time losing weight. Right. Or your cadence of weight loss. But for us, doing these types of resets are really important to get the scale moving again. I mean, doing something like this 3 times a year will help you lose those couple pounds that you are in between. Yeah, 10 pounds are like not a big deal, right? Especially for us. But then the extra 10 over that. Yeah, it starts to get like a lot. And then more than that. So it's good to maybe have some time to... It's like almost like a fast. Right. Some people do fasting or they do intermittent fasting. Sarah and I do that as well. We don't eat breakfast typically. We typically start eating at like 2 p.m. Yeah. Some days we'll eat one meal a day and it'll be at like 4 p.m. The next day I might have a lunch at 2 p.m. It's hard to give people advice because we're very about it. Well, we're trying to listen to our bodies. Right. We've almost been on this for half a decade so far. And sometimes we mess up and we eat too much. It's about not ignoring it. Right. Many times, Emily and I, during our high school years or early college years would lose 60 pounds over the next year or two, gain it back. Right. And you gain it by a couple pounds a month. It's because we didn't step on the scale. We didn't measure ourselves and we just kind of let it go. Now we're also, more aware of it. It's also this all or nothing mentality that we used to have. And so now I'm not really thinking all that much about, I might have eaten 30 carbs instead of 20 to 25 carbs. It's I'm on to the next day. I don't think about that kind of stuff. It's not that worth my time. It's just like there are too many things going on and for me to care that much over 10, 15 carbs. It's like, okay, tomorrow I'll do better. Tomorrow I'll choose one of these meals and I'll eat it. Because it's a long-term thing for us. This is a lifestyle for us. We say all the time, this is not a diet. This is a lifestyle. And this is the longest time that we've kept off the majority of the weight that we lost. Because before we would just go back to eating whatever and gain the weight back. So this is what works for us. Everyone's different. If you guys have any suggestions of meals that you guys eat to lose weight, let us know in the comment section below. We would love to hear other people's suggestions, like for protein. Oh, I was gonna say, we do have another channel, Emily and Sarah. We'll leave it linked. I think it's still at Technically Keto is the handle for that. But we were thinking about doing, I think we are going to be posting on there soon, or we haven't already, more challenge type content where we explore different ways of eating and more ideas about low carb and lifestyle too. Right. Things like us trying carnivore for a week, us trying, maybe it's the natural Ozempic, whatever it is, a tea, right? For a week and seeing if it helps our appetite. Things like that. So make sure to follow Emily and Sarah and we'll leave that linked in the description below. Anyway, I'm Emily. And I'm Sarah. And we are the Keto Reset signing out. I'm hungry. Let me eat your face.